silence was the loudest part. It wasn't just an absence of sound, it was the void left by her father's laugh, her mother's humming in the kitchen, her little brother's excited chatter. Anaya, 18, sat in a world of perpetual midnight, the final, brutal gift of the accident that had taken everything else. The doctors called it trauma-induced blindness. Anaya called it a life sentence in a solitary cell. Before the darkness, there had been light, blazing, glorious light on canvas. Art was her first language. At 5, she'd won her first competition with a sun so bright it seemed to warm the paper. At 15, her portraits were said to capture souls. Her family's walls were a gallery of her joy. Now, her hands, once steady and sure, felt like strangers. The textures of clay, the smell of turpentine, the weight of a brush, they were haunting ghosts of a life she could no longer see. Her aunt, Mira, with a voice thick with pity, would arrange her things. For when you feel like trying, she'd say. But trying felt like a betrayal. How could she paint a sky she couldn't remember? The invitation came as a vibration on her phone, read aloud by her screen reader. World Global Art Show, open call for extraordinary vision. The irony was a sharp knife. She deleted it. It came again. And again. A news segment played about it, the announcer's voice buzzing with excitement. Vision, they kept saying. The word echoed in her dark chamber. One rainy afternoon, a memory surfaced, sharp and clear. She was 10, and her father had held her hand over his thumping heart. The best art, Beta, he'd said, doesn't come from here, tapping her forehead, but from here. He'd squeezed her hand against his chest. Where love and memory live. A fierce, sudden resolve seized her. It wasn't about seeing. It was about showing. Her process was chaos. She ordered special thick, textural paints. She worked on a massive canvas laid flat on the floor. Mira would mix colors to her. Precise instructions, the red of my mother's wedding sari, not tomato, deeper, the exact blue of the sky over the mountains on our last trip. Anaya would kneel, her hands her eyes. She'd map the canvas with strings of glue that dried into raised roads. She'd build landscapes with sand and paste. She'd layer paint with palette knives, her fingers reading the topography of her grief and hope. She painted the accident not as a smash of metal, but as a sudden, violent vortex of black and deep blue, swallowing smaller, warmer orbs of gold and yellow. She painted her family not as faces, but as constellations, 4 distinct clusters of light, their connections fine threads of silver. And from the edge of that dark vortex, she painted a single, winding path. It was rough, textured with gravel and grit, but along its borders, she planted a garden of sensations, velvet soft blooms, cool, glassy streams of paint, the rough bark of applied tea leaves. It was a path you could feel with your heart. She titled it, The Way Home. The day of the show, Mira led her through the murmuring gallery. Anaya heard the clicks of cameras, the polite critiques, the pauses in front of other works. Then they stopped in front of hers. A different silence fell. A hush. Then, she heard it, a stifled sob. A whispered, "My God." The shuffle of many feet crowding close. When the head judge took the microphone, his voice was unsteady. We have seen technical mastery today. We have seen conceptual brilliance. But we have never witnessed a map of a soul. He described the piece not just as he saw it, but as he felt it under his guiding hand, which the judges had all been invited to do. The artist, he announced, has not only participated but has redefined vision for all of us. The winner is Anaya Sharma for The Way Home. The applause was a physical wave, crashing over her. Mira was weeping, squeezing her hand. As Anaya was guided to the stage, her outstretched hand was met not by the cold metal of the trophy first, but by a dozen other hands, reaching, touching, pressing in solidarity and awe. Back home, the trophy sat on a shelf, cool and smooth. But the real prize was in her hands, stained with a new color. It was the texture of a future she could build, not see. The world called her victory a heartbreaking, inspirational story. But for Anaya, it was simpler. In the deepest dark, she had finally found her way back to the light, not by seeing it, but by becoming it, one brave, brilliant color at a time. Her story wasn't just told. It was felt. And in feeling it, the world found a new way to see.